Pastor Steve Jirgal back with you again with some more about the 23rd Psalm. In verse 4, it says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." We see this transition. The first 3 verses, we were talking about the shepherd, and now we're talking to the shepherd. Why? Because of the valley of the shadow of death. And it says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It doesn't say if I happen to, or I might walk through it, even though that happens to me. You see, we're all faced with the valley of the shadow of death. But for the believer, it holds no fear. Why? Because the Lord is with us. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, because you are with me. For the believer, death is just a shadow. That's all it is. Now, shadows bring fear. There's no question about it. Shadows show the unknown or bring us into the unknown. But shadows cannot hurt you. And the other thing about shadows is you cannot have a shadow unless you have light. And Jesus said, "I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." In John 8:12. He's with you. He's with you. And so even in the valley of the shadow of death, He won't leave you. In Hebrews 13:5, He says, "I will never leave you." And really in the Greek, it's a little bit more pronounced because it says, "I will never, no, not ever, leave you." And He'll never forsake you. I've shared with a lot of people that verse of Hebrews 13:5, and we use it in our hands and we grab hold of it. I will never leave you. So a different word for each finger. And I encourage people, particularly when they're frightened, a hospital situation, or when somebody's in real trouble and the unknown is right there in front of them and life is so uncertain. So I remind them of Hebrews 13:5. I will never leave you. And then I encourage them to take that verse and grab it and hold it. And take that verse and hold it to their chest and cover it with their other hand. So they have the assurance that no matter what they go through, even the valley of the shadow of death, He'll never leave us. He'll never forsake us. I will never leave you. Comforting words from Hebrews 13:5. And then it says, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Well, that doesn't seem normal. A rod and a staff are points of discipline. The rod was a short stick. Often it had a knob on the end. It can be used, as I said, for discipline, or it can also be thrown at intruders. It can be thrown at the enemy. And the staff was a longer stick, and it often had a hook on the end. It can be used to direct the sheep, discipline the sheep, or even with that hook, rescue the sheep. And both of them can be tapped on the ground so that the sheep knows that the shepherd is near. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. It's very comforting to know that the shepherd is close at hand. It's very comforting to know that the Lord is right here and He'll never leave you. And that tapping that you hear in your heart and in your mind, that's simply the shepherd letting you know He's close by. Do you feel the shadow about you? Don't be afraid. The shepherd is near. Follow the good shepherd. He loves you and He cares for you. Have a great day.